Medications tend to have very weird sounding names that sound almost like spellbinding incantation. And so if you've ever wondered why drugs have names like pembrolizumab or esomeprazole, there is a method to this madness. Drug names are intended to serve three main purposes. The first is from a drug name, chemists should be able to tell exactly the molecule that has been used to build that drug. And this method of naming drugs is pretty much standardized by organizations like the WHO or the USAN for more US focused drugs. Another goal for naming drugs that way is so that doctors and physicians can immediately spot what a drug does from its name. For example, a drug that contains pril, a doctor automatically knows that it's meant to lower blood pressure, like lisinopril, or a drug that contains olol automatically shows that it's meant to slow down the heart. For example, metoprolol. Another example is any drug that has statin in it indicates that it's meant to lower cholesterol. For example, atorvastatin. And so doctors are supposed to be able to tell what a drug does from its name. And finally, there is the brand name of the drug, which is whichever name that the company that makes the drug chooses to market the drug as. So, for example, drugs like pembrolizumab, you may not know it by that name because you would know it as Keytruda. Another example is a drug known as sildenafil, which you may not know it by that name because you know it as Viagra. Also, medications can have different names in different countries. In the US, for example, a drug like acetaminophen is known in other places as paracetamol. It's the same drug, it's just named differently. And that's because companies have to pick drug names that are legally available in each country that the drug is going to be available in. So if you have a drug that already exists in a very similar name in another country, then the company needs to find another name that is not as similar and that doesn't promise a cure. So, for example, you cannot name a drug the HIV curing pill, even if it cures HIV.